Hello, this is KC7NYR. In this video, I'm going to install Linux Mint LMDE 4 on a virtual machine. And you can see in the background, I'm running the same version on my laptop. So here we go. First thing you want to do is click on New and name this Mint LMDE-4. And of course it's not Ubuntu, it's actually Debian. So let's see if we can get a Debian 64-bit going. And there it is. Okay, the next thing you want to do is click Next. Now based on your available memory, you'll have a choice. I have quite a bit. I have 12 gigs, so let's run this one a little higher. And click Next. Create a virtual hard disk now. Just leave this all selected. Click Create. Here is the hard disk file. You get to choose the file type. I always select the VirtualBox disk image, although you have two other options. Just leave the top one selected and click Next. Okay. And here you can have a fixed drive or a dynamically allocated drive, which means the hard disk will only use space on your physical drive as it fills up. And once it hits the fixed size, it will not be able to shrink again automatically. I just leave this alone. Click Next. This is your memory allocation. And the top area tells you the file location of your actual virtual machine VDI file. You can actually click here and change this, and I will not. And then how many gigs of hard drive space. This is just a test. I usually run about 30. 32 is fine. And then go down the bottom, click the Create button. Okay, so now here you're going to have to locate the image. So when you click the Start button, you'll see the information I set up and the virtual machine is off. You click the Start button, and then you need to go either, in this case it's pointing to the DVD, and we'll try this again. You can add medium. There it is. That is the correct way to do it. And go to the download folder and you'll see all my ISOs listed here. You click on the LMDE 4, and this version only comes with Cinnamon Desktop 64 gigs, and click Open. And now I can choose the one I want, and now I choose, and now it's pointing toward the correct ISO on the location that I want. Now I can click Start, and it said it failed to start the virtual machine, but it didn't. So let's click back in here and you'll see the automatic boot. Click the mouse inside the virtual machine to display. Always leave that alone. So now it's actually starting the virtual the ISO. So let's take a look at this. Now always leave these capture keys unchecked until the drivers get loaded. It's really important, or you'll lose your mouse. You notice if I go inside, it's not working. See, I have my mouse to the right here, and this is what happens until your system actually starts up. So as it's starting up, I just want to let you see what it looks like so you don't panic unnecessarily. In a virtual machine, this is the way it works through Oracle Virtual Machine VirtualBox. And once the system boots into a live version, before I actually install it, I got to make a adjustment, and I'll do that here shortly. And as it starts up, there it is. Now there's something really cool about this particular version of LMDE 4 if you're running it on your main computer, and let's see if it's available. And that's, you can actually take the screen It's not available yet, so we have to install it first. But once we install it, I'm going to show you this feature. Normally, you cannot increase the size of this virtual window beyond what you see right here. And the reason I love LMDE 4 Debian based Mint is you can, after you install it, spread this into a full screen capture for the video, and I'm going to show you this as we do the installation. But it doesn't happen to after you install it on the actual virtual machine. Okay, so one of the adjustments I want to make is they tell you that you need to go into your settings and make sure that your system has certain settings that are set properly. And I think it's and I'm taking a quick look here because I didn't write it down, but I'm going to make sure user interface, that's it. So the main thing is it's got to have the opportunity to log into what's called a guest machine. So I'll make sure this is all set up right for a guest machine. If not, the install will go sideways and we'll learn from it. Remote storage and network, serial ports, and user interface. So okay, we're going to leave this alone. Go back to general. Okay, here we are. Okay, so now we're at the install. Now we're on the actual what's called the live version. So if you just, this is their area that you can actually test the operating system. You can click on the menu and go through and you can try everything out. Okay, now this is a good idea before you actually commit to a Linux distribution. Now I've already committed, but in this video I want to show you how to install it, and then I'll walk you through all the settings after we're done. But I wanted to show you all the functionality is right here before. It's called a live CD boot. That means you can test drive it without installing the system on your local hard drive. So always be aware a live CD means that. So I decided I do want to install it. So I am doing it on a virtual machine. So let's double click on this, and it'll be a little bit slower for the fact that you are installing this on a virtual machine. So here's your install. It's going to show you a little bit about the installer itself. It's very nifty and very intuitive, but it does walk you through all the steps you'll need to install the LMDE Linux Mint. Click Next, and of course this is self-explanatory. Choose your language, which is English, and your location, and this is correct. It wasn't you just click on another location and you go from there. Keyboard selection is also, you can change it, but I'm going to leave mine to English default. Click Next, and then I'm going to put my call sign, and your computer name has to be in lowercase, so let's do that too. And my username is here. You see all the green arrows to the right. Choose a password, and require a login. You can log in automatically. You can also encrypt your hard drive. We're going to skip those. Make it simple. Make sure you do have a password. It's always recommended. Now this would be an issue if you were doing a multi-boot system, meaning you'd click here and it tells you multiple drives, and you'd have to go into the manual partitioning. In a virtual machine, you do not have to worry about this. Just let this automatic installation that's already selected, and then click Next. Okay, they want me to select a disk, so I'll make sure it's the virtual box. Aha! I did have to select a disk, didn't I? So it needs a virtual box. This is showing. Now if this was on your local hard drive, of course it'd show the partition or where it's going to install it, and you only use the manual partitioning below if you're going to partition a hard drive into multiple partitions or areas or sections. Go down here and click Next, and it will say, do you want to delete all the data? Of course, they're just making sure you don't wipe out a part of your hard drive. So now it says there was no partition table found on it. You want to the installer to create a set of partitions. And then of course this will erase all your present data. Yes. Now we're going to see if the installer does it all for us. Okay, this is very important. Configure your boot menu, install the Grow boot on the boot menu. You never should have to change this on a virtual machine or on your hard drive. Click Next. All the information is listed for you as a summary. I agree. Click Next. And then what you're going to see is this nice little Debian LMDE installer start running. And as this is running, I will take a break and be right back because I want you to see the end of the installation. And then what happens, we need to reboot the actual virtual machine and boot into our regular computer. Sometimes this doesn't always go well, so let's see what happens. Okay, KC7NYR, now the installation has been completed. Let's see what the next step is. You see at the bottom it says the installation is now complete. Do you want to restart your computer to use the new system? Just click Yes. Okay, and here we go. And it says keep changes on the virtual box. Click OK. And we'll see. Now it says at the top here to click Enter. This is because if you need to click Enter, remove the USB or disk if you were installing your system on a hard drive. Now here it goes. Now it's restarting. So let's take a look. There it is. It did install successfully. So there it goes. And again, let's just wait until it boots up and gives us a login screen, and then I'll show you the little perk of having LMDE 4, Debian-based Linux, because we can actually increase the size of the window to our liking and have more room to show you what's inside of the LMDE 4 installation on a virtual box. And here we go. Okay, we have arrived to the login screen. Here you're going to enter the password and hit enter, and then it'll load the new drivers on the virtual machine and allow us to take a test drive. And this is the part that separates LMDE 4 Mint better on a virtual machine, because I'm going to show you how I can increase the size of the window. Okay, so here we are. Now we may have to do some updates first, but let's just try it out of the box. So first of all, the mouse pointer integration, just click X. Now it says check your video drivers. Your system is currently running without video hardware acceleration, and you may experience poor performance. Now with the Debian version, you don't have to do this. It does this automatically. So let's go ahead and load that first. So click under First Steps. Go down to Multimedia Codex. This is where you load the codex that handles video or multimedia integration. And then you'll see it install additional software, and click Install. Put in your password and authenticate. And if you want to see the packages, which I'll open those up, you click Install, and it'll show the packages if you want to see them below. Now this is the part that you will not have to do in the Ubuntu version of Mint, because it does this automatically for you. With the LMDE 4, which is the Debian version, you do have to do this manually, but you only have to do it after the installation one time. So we'll let this install, and then I'll walk you through a couple other steps that are not really required, but they are something you can install. For instance, above this window you'll see System Snapshots. Now what this is good for, it takes snapshots of your operating system, so if something breaks each time you boot up, you can restore your operating system to the previous state. Very nice to have. We're not going to run this because it takes a while, but I do encourage you to install this codec and for multimedia, and this is why I am showing you the step here before we take a look at the operating system a little bit further. Because if you don't, what happens is it'll show at the bottom, see this little, at the very bottom of the page, you'll see a little, some problems were found. And the other window, this is all the updates. This is the update manager, so this is all the updates that would need to be installed, which we'll take a look at that after I show you the other items that are flagged, and this is normal after you first install your Mint LMDE 4, which is Debian based. And so this gets you up to speed with all the latest codecs and video drivers that makes the system run very smoothly. Okay, now once these are installed, I'm going to try to spread the screen apart further open, to see if indeed it's working the way it should. Like I said, normally this is all we get, this size here, but if it was working correctly, I should be able to spread it out. It's not working correctly yet, so I may have to reboot, but that's okay. So here's the other item you'll see at the bottom. So you got your clock, your battery, sound, internet connection. If you click here, it's going to open this window for you, and it'll say install language packs. Now I don't particularly want language packs, so I click ignore. And then the setup restore utility, this is something you can do later. You don't have to do it now, so I click ignore. Okay. Now the other thing it's going to need is updates. So it'll say welcome to the update manager. Tells you about the security update, software, and system snapshots. Just click OK. And what this will do is go out to the repository, and also lets you set what's called a local mirror, meaning it's a closer place to download your updates. So you'd put in your password, and it'll show this. When you click on this package location, this is how you determine the speed to the right of the closest mirror site to get your packages. So what you do is you let this load. This is quite important because you can get a faster download from a closer Debian Linux Mint website. Currently, you can see up the top, these are faster than down here. So I'll take the 1.3. This is currently the ones running the fastest. Click apply, and then click OK. Now it's going to re-update what's called the cache to this particular site. Now this can change at any time, so if you happens to say it's not available, you just click on this main mirror site like I just did previously, and you go in here and let it load and find out which is the fastest location, and that's called your official repository mirror site. And once this is done, it loads everything for you. Okay, so these are a few steps you do need to take actually after you first install your new Debian Mint LMDE 4. Okay, so it's all finished, so X out of this, and when you do, now you've been connected, you want to go ahead and refresh the new site because it's going to probably pull up a list of updates. It's always recommended to stay updated, so I'll go ahead and run these and pause the video, and then I'll restart my virtual machine and show you the inside, just a quick walkthrough of Cinnamon, which runs pretty good actually on older hardware, and there they are. So now you'll see all the check boxes appear for upgrade on the left. Tells you what they are and the new version. And you'll see anything here, for instance, this is a kernel, so this requires an update anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and check install updates. You put your password back in, hit enter or authenticate, and these will install automatically. Now once the packages are done, because I showed you there was a kernel update, that kernel update always requires a reboot. Most updates in Linux do not. So we'll allow the updates to run, and when they're completed I will reboot the virtual machine again. Okay, as you can tell, you can see how close we are to the end of the download packages, and then there'll be an installation process. And also when you're doing updates in Debian LMDE 4, you'll see during a process the sprocket appears and it says installing updates. Also you'll see here the same things happening. We've already dealt with system reports, so that can actually be X'd out. Oop, nope. Cancel that. Okay, so we're almost done with the updates, or at least downloading the packages. This usually takes 5 to 8 minutes. And I'm on a wireless connection on my laptop, so if you were on a LAN cable or Ethernet connection, this goes quite quickly. So now it's going to apply the changes, which is the actual installation of the packages that we downloaded. Now if you want to take a look at the process as it's going, this is the summary view, but if you want to see the detail, you click here and it opens up to see the line by line that goes on behind the scenes. If you'd like to read that, you surely can do that. Or you can click here and just see the apply changes. Okay, so as you can see, it says right here, your system is up to date. Reboot required. You've installed updates that require a reboot to take effect. Please reboot your system as soon as possible. And I will do that. So this is required, as a system reboot is required. So we'll go over here and find the reboot option, which is right here on the left hand side. And I'll do a log out, which is a reboot. Ooh, that's actually just a log out. Ooh, oh my, look what I just learned. So that wasn't what I wanted. So let's go up here. So I just learned something myself. Yeah, very few systems do logouts anymore, so that's good to know. No. So we're going to do quit. Now this is where it gives me restart options. So there you go. This is a nice feature that the Cinnamon Desktop LMDE 4 Debian has. I try to do it from a different menu. It should have been done at the right top inside the virtual machine, because this is the operating system. Okay, so there it is. That's a really quick reboot, and we'll see what happens on the restart. as you can see, the mouse is still not operable until the reboot's completed because the drivers haven't been loaded for the virtual machine or the OS. That's why I can still use my mouse on the outside, but until the drivers get loaded for the virtual machine, you'll see now I can. See how that works? So now I can log in. Now it's rebooted properly. And let's see what now I can, as it reboots, I still don't want to X out this prematurely because that will sometimes cause problems and your mouse will not be able to access it and you had to reboot it again. A few tips, only because I've done a few of the virtual machine installations and learned the hard way. So just be patient and allow the system to reboot. There it comes right there. So now I can click here and get rid of it. Now you shouldn't that's fine. So we'll click this down here so we don't have to see this every time we reboot. So that's your option. Okay, so let's see what we get on the screen. It's still not spreading out properly like it should, but that's okay. Let's take a quick peek at the operating system. KC7NYR, I've returned. Now this is what the virtual box or virtual machine usually looks like on most machines, and you have an option to pull it out. Now you don't usually have this option with other systems, but one of the benefits is having the LMDE 4 running behind the scenes. So this is what I'm running that's powering this virtual machine, this same system, by the way. And one of the perks, they said that you could actually take your mouse and either stretch it to your liking. This is not available on any other systems that I know of. And how I did this, initially it didn't work. But I'm showing you now I could take this screen and look at this. This is something you're not going to see on any other Linux distributions. This is why I chose it. So let's say I just want it big enough and still operate and see my controls of my main distribution here that's actually running this virtual machine. So that's an option. But since I'm recording, okay, it's catching up now. Since I'm recording, there's different ways to manipulate this information. Okay, so if you do not have the opportunity to reach into the corner and do this and stretch your screen in your virtual window, I had a problem where this did not work. If this does not work for you, you want to make sure that your codecs are all updated first, okay? And that'll be on your splash screen. Number two, what you want to be able to do is go into your virtual machine itself, click on Settings, and make sure that your system has enough memory. If you notice, I peaked mine out when I had my memory low here. This didn't work very well. So peak out your memory. Make sure your system has enough memory. Okay. The other thing that's selected by the system based on your motherboard, your video card, excuse me, is your video memory. So if this is really low, that will cause a problem as well. So these are some options you can check, but this is a nice item to have when you're doing a session and you're working with a window like this. Anyway, and of course this is all done with a virtual box, and I'm just giving you a quick demo. Anyway, so that's all I have. Real quick, if you've never seen Linux Mint and the Debian, it's identical to the Ubuntu version of Mint. So if you notice all the Mint windows, if you've already seen Mint with Ubuntu, all the installed software, which I'm showing you now, pretty much is identical. And Debian's done a great job to make sure it looks the same. Okay, so enjoy your ride. Don't forget to catch a few more my videos on my website, kc7nyr.com. And thank you for joining us, and please return often. You take care.